we have provided some resources in the form of a worksheet that can kind of take these concepts and put them in a little bit more concrete of a way. And what you'll see as you're filling out your worksheet is, first, we want you to identify your stakeholders. And so you would think through a lot of the different types of stakeholders. These could be people that make decisions in your programs. These could even be the beneficiaries of the program. What are their interests? How would they respond to what you have to offer? And the people who are out in the field, the frontline workers out there gathering the data or delivering program content, and all the people that are involved in different sorts of ways. Because as you work through this process, their voices can be important and be a source of feedback in itself. So within your worksheet, we're going to kind of prompt you to think of different types of stakeholders and what they bring to the table and why they're important, maybe for your organization and in the context of a responsive feedback approach. And, thinking through how you've worked with this stakeholder in the past, how do you engage with them? Are they people that you have team meetings with on a regular basis? Do you have funding reports once a quarter? How are your usual ways of communicating with them, and trying to think through how that figures into how you might communicate with them during this process? And when we ask you to think about the benefits that this person could receive from responsive feedback, we really want you to kind of probe how could you gain their buy-in to this approach? If there's a frontline worker, could it be that responsive feedback would bring to life the evidence and the feedback that they're already gathering? If there are people that are delivering a survey, they could see that their evidence and results really matter because you're collecting all of that data and then doing something with it. And that could be a valuable way to kind of gain buy-in from people within your organization and show that what they're doing and their feedback matters in this process. And it could be you have a funder that has very set priorities on what they're expecting out of your project. And those can also be useful to go ahead and identify, because as you go through and you're prioritizing what areas to focus on in responsive feedback, it's really great to have an idea of these main priorities. And because you'll probably have a lot of things you wanted to look at or maybe explore, but coming back to those key priorities of your organization, your funders, your mission, those are all going to be useful to have and as you go through this process. So having a place in the worksheet to kind of think through some of these challenges and considerations is very valuable. And you'll see here that we probe you on, okay, who's making decisions in your program? Who administers surveys? Who collects data? To kind of get you started thinking on the whole range of stakeholders that you might want to think about in this process. And when we talk about resources, we have an actual list of things that we've identified as key resources for a learning culture in an organization, and also for having those data systems and analysis capacities in place, so you can have a realistic look to see where you are, what you have available as far as abilities to get out in the field and conduct responsive feedback, maybe where you could see if you could have a little bit more, get another person on your team to help, or just have a more realistic picture, which can also help structure things as you go forward. So a worksheet in this type of way is just a really valuable tool to take these concepts and get them just more concrete way to give you that lay of the land as you move forward.